everyone, welcome back to my silly little channel. Today I'm turning flowers into fairy designs. In this video we have the fuchsia, delphinium, red tulip and the allium. So let's just get straight into those speed paints. When I was planning out the mini-series, I started out with silhouettes of everyone together. I figured I'd be able to make them all different if I could see them all side by side. I chose these specific flowers because I wanted the color palettes to be complementary. I wanted them to look like a unit, like they were all family members, but all with their own unique looks. Fuchsias are pink, usually hot pink, and pink tulips would be too similar to fuchsias, which is why I chose red tulips. I also wanted two of the designs to be cooler toned, so I chose delphiniums. I wanted blue, and lucky for me, these flowers are one of the rare ones that are a true blue. And last but not least, allium. I wanted a flower that had like a complete different look to the others, and allium fit the bill. It's completely round, like a ball. As for the designs, I used flowers as inspirations for the dress shapes and colors. I tried out a lot of different silhouettes, making sure they were all distinct from each other. Fuchsia has a layered skirt, and I tried a few different hairstyles out in this thumbnail stage. You'll see later, but I ended up giving her two buns instead of bubble braids. I played around with wing shapes as well in this thumbnailing stage, and I ended up choosing a dangly type because it would be similar to the teardrops that fuchsias have, but we'll get into that later. When I was doing some research, I found out that delphiniums are quite tall, so she is the tallest fairy out of the four of them. I tried out a few different dresses, one that was just her flowers, one that was layered like a waterfall, and then a mermaid dress. And I liked the mermaid dress because it made her seem more elegant and older, so that's why I chose that. I wanted Tulip to seem older than Delphinium, like she's the elder sister. So I tried giving her a longer skirt and sharper shoulders, but the overall silhouette didn't look like a tulip anymore, so I went back to her shorter skirt. Tulips are known to be symbols of passion and love, so I gave her a cute cardigan on top of her dress to make her seem more friendly. And I wanted a fairy to be smaller than the rest, so the allium ended up being the little sister. I tried a few different hairstyles, making sure to keep the roundness of the plant petals. Instead of her dress being a big puffball, I decided to use that shape for her shoulders and part of her shoes. So first up is fuchsia. To start this off, I saved a couple of references of fuchsias. This is the mood board that I made. Lots of pinks, some purple and green. These flowers are quite interesting visually, the main one being the teardrops. Fun fact, apparently these flowers were called ladies' eardrops in Victorian times because they look like dangling earrings, so that's cool. I was surprised to see that some fuchsia varieties can have some purple petals underneath, so I made sure to keep that in the design. I thought that was really cool. I used the main flower body as a design for her dress. I like how the fuchsia has these layered petals, some on the top and some underneath. I followed that design pattern and made her skirt have two layers, a light pink layer and a purple layer. I also wanted to pull that layered look up, so I gave her a capelet. The teardrops are an important part of the flower, so I put them everywhere, on the edges of her skirt, the edges of her wings, and even as a necklace under her capelet. When designing her hair, I initially wanted to go with bubble braids, but as you can see, I did not do that. While I was drawing, I realized there was a lot going on with the bottom half of her design, and I didn't want to make it more confusing with long hair, so I gave her two buns that resemble the fuchsia itself. Fuchsias have always been a symbol of grace and refinement because of their delicate look. They're also an expression of love and kindness, and they're also a reminder of strength because they can handle cool temperatures but still bloom beautifully for many months. And in some cultures, the drooping form of the flower represents humility before nature. It was believed to remind people to stay grounded and thankful for life's simple gifts. Her wings taper out into points so I could add those teardrop shapes to them. I wanted the wing designs to look fun, and these kind of look like ribbons. For the color, I picked them all out beforehand so I could get straight into painting when the sketch was on. Also, I wanted to make sure all of my designs had green somewhere to reference that they are flowers, like they are inspired by flowers. For the fuchsia design, I added it to her hair. I was going to leave her capelet green, but I realized that it was grabbing attention away from the skirt. So yeah, I worked hard on that, okay. So now it's pink with purple underneath. So now we're just finishing off the rendering, so cleaning up places that I haven't colored yet. So that includes her hair, her ears, her wings. I added a purple gradient to her wings to make it more seamless with the other purple in her design. I thought that it would suit her, and that became a running trend with the rest of the designs. They all have gradients in their wings now, and comment below if you have any names for her. Next up, delphinium. Again, I gathered a few references to help me choose details for her design, and this is the mood board. Lots of blues, purples, green leaves. When I was thumbnailing, I liked the idea of having her a long blouse with layered sleeves. It made her look taller, and the sleeves kind of look like flowers from the side. I went with a mermaid style dress because the blues and the purples of delphiniums reminded me of the ocean, and she also looks really elegant in it. The blouse connects to a train of delphiniums which open up into like big flowers behind her. It is one of my favorite parts of her design. I loved rendering out her clothes, and her dress looks so shiny. Though I do wish I made the transition from flowers to blouse a bit more seamless. While doing some shallow research, I learnt that delphiniums are pollinated by butterflies and bumblebees, and delphiniums have a connection to Greek mythology. It's said that these flowers originally bloomed from the blood of the legendary hero Ajax, who died during combat during the Trojan War. Yeah, that sounds pretty crazy. Delphiniums symbolize positivity, protection, and new beginnings, and strong bonds of love and affection. They also symbolize dignity, grace, and deep emotional bonds, which makes them really popular in floral arrangements. So here I'm rendering the dress, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I used a reference to help me choose like where the wrinkles would go and where the light would hit most. And let's just say I peaked here. Delphiniums are usually grouped together in the photos that I was referencing. I wanted her hair to capture that a little, so I gave her long twin tails. She has two little flowers that are keeping her hair tied up. Isn't that so cute? So here I start rendering her hair. I gave her two strands in front of her face because I thought it would frame her face better and that she would look really cute. I also decided to give her purple hair because it would match her skin tone a bit better because I used like a dark blue for that. I wanted her overall look to be purple on the inside and blue on the outside. From my references, like delphiniums are mostly purple and blue, and that's also why her sleeves are white delphiniums. I also gave her blue makeup, blue eyeshadow that's really shiny, blue lipstick. I just thought it would suit her skin tone really well. I loved painting her wings, and I really like the shape of them. I use a gradient of purple and blue with veins to look like butterfly wings, and yeah. Anyways, got any names for her? I was thinking Delphi, which is quite obvious, but I think it's still cute. Next is the tulip. This is a mood board for tulip, lots of red, some pink, and green stems. I did alter the red to be a bit more pink because my original color palette was just too strong when it was next to the others, so yeah, that's why she's a bit more pink than red. Tulips have a specific look that stands out from other flowers. They're more narrower compared to other flowers because they grow up rather than out. I love the shape, so I used it as a basis of her skirt. Her skirt is straight up just a tulip upside down with some with some ruffles at the edge. For her cardigan, I made a scalloped design so it would look like petals. She has tulips on her shoulders as well and her sleeves. I wanted to have more visual weight at her hands, so her sleeves are big and poofy. I was having some issues with her color palette as I was saying before, so I spent a while trialing some and managed to get something that I like. I gave her green heels and green tights so that she would look like a tulip from far away. It was like a massive brain idea that I had in the thumbnail stage. Her heels have tulips at the back as well, and I wanted to bring some of the red down to her legs, but not too much. I gave her short hair that looked like upside down tulips and also tulip space buns. I think that it balances out her design. Each part of her look from top to bottom is even. She has rounder features than her sisters, and I made sure to keep that in her wing design as well. So here I decided to redraw her legs because I was looking at a reference of a similar pose and I realized that I made them too long. So I shortened them up a bit and made them a bit wider so it would suit her body type a bit more. Yeah, and this also meant that I would have to change the shape of the shoes a little bit, and honestly, I think it looks better now. And here we're just finishing up the rendering, so painting the tulips in her hair, painting her ears, rendering her wings, and redoing her eyes because I realized that they were a bit lopsided. Yeah, for the tulip, I decided to give her eyelashes that kind of look like butterfly wings. I thought it would be really cute for her, so yeah, that's what I did. Her wings look the most like a butterfly wings, in my opinion. Now that she's done, do you have any names for her? Let me know. Last is the baby sister, the allium, and this is her mood board. Lots of purples and a little bit of green. Her design was very easy and straightforward for me. I knew I wanted to give her a layered skirt with a cute top. Alliums are simple in their design, one long stem and a purple or white puffball at the top. I wanted to use the roundness of these flowers as much as possible, so I used it in her hair, her shoulders, and her shoes. So some fun facts about the allium. Plants in the allium genus are put into two categories, edible and ornamental. The edible parts are onions, garlic, or chives, and the ornaments are the flowering parts. So commonly they're used in like traditional medicine. People recommend having onions and garlic when you're sick. It can be used as a natural pesticide. And interestingly, they symbolize luck, protection, and warding off evil spirits. They symbolize unity, resilience, and renewal. And these plants don't have pollinators, which is interesting. Her skirt has a green layer on top that opens into ruffles, and I think that's really cute. So here I was rendering the skirt. I put so many different ruffles in there and it was really fun to render. I changed the liner color from that light purple to a darker one so it would be more seamless and not stand out as much. To make her dress more interesting, I added a few bows and buttons. She also has a scalloped collar to look like petals. The rendering for her shoulder, like alliums, were really fun to paint. I used a bunch of X's so that they would look like little petals from far away. They somehow look pretty realistic too. Her shoes also use this trick, but these alliums are darker. I wanted them to contrast with the light purple of the shoes, so that's why they're dark purple. And the allium fairy has high boots like her sister Fuchsia. Her hair was really fun to paint as well. I extended a part out of the bun so they would look like alliums. I also gave her a headband with ribbons to match her dress. She has big round eyes like her flower. As for her wings, I made sure that they would have lots of rounded edges. I wanted hers to stand out, so I made them quite detailed. She has a gradient of green to purple because plain purple seemed too boring. I also gave her green lipstick. I really like the contrast. And yeah. So any names for the allium fairy? Let me know in the comments. So here is the final result for this mini series. I came up with border designs after, so that's why they're not in the speed paints. Anyways, which one's your favorite? I personally really like the delphinium flower because, I don't know, the colors work so well, her pose looks so nice. I like that her dress is so shiny. I think the rendering turned out really well, so delphinium's my favorite, but what's yours? And leave a comment below if you want your favorite flower in the next video. This is the type of series you can do forever because there's a million different types of flowers. So let me know your favorites. I have a few that's already in the works, so look forward to that. As for my favorites, I think maybe the chrysanthemum or the sunflower is my favorite. As you can see back there, I have fake sunflowers, so yeah, I don't know, I like the color, I like how bright it is and how it's really attracted to the sun. Yeah, so maybe I'll have them in the next video or another video, I don't know. Did you like these designs? What would you do differently if you did have these flowers and turn them into fairies? Yeah, hit me up in the comments, let me know. I wish only the best for you and I hope to see you in another video. See ya!